Good evening. I'm Raul Mas. Thank you for being with us here on Mas con Mas. And many thanks to our sponsors, Youngevity, Cachita Coffee, Grimal Joyeria for making this program possible. We've got a terrific guest with us this evening. His name is Jack Michel. Jack is a medical doctor and internist and also the chairman of Larkin Community Hospital here in Miami, Florida. And I wanted to talk to Jack about something very basic. What the heck is going on with COVID-19? We've just spent the last, 4 or 5 months practically in lockdown throughout the United States. We went through a lot of trouble, expense, aggravation, trying to sort of stem a virus that was supposedly going to kill millions. We're finding out now, now I guess suppose that we have a lot more knowledge about the virus, that it was never as deadly as we thought it would be. And yet there's a lot of conflicting information out there. So I wanted to talk to Jack, who is truly a subject matter expert on COVID-19 and on the spread of this pandemic, and get his take on what has actually transpired during these past few months. And by the way, sticking to the medical evidence, to the scientific evidence, putting politics aside. I think part of the problem that we're having as we get into this election year, as we progress towards November 3rd, is that the pandemic is being used by both sides to promote their own talking points and their vision of the next president of the United States. So we're going to stay away from that. I want Jack to talk to me, and we've had this conversation strictly about what's been going on. Jack, welcome to the program. Thank you for doing this. Very appreciative of your taking time out to talk to us.
My pleasure, Ro. Very important topic.
So listen, let's start a little bit of, give the audience a little bit of a feel for who you are and talk to us a little bit about Larkin and your involvement in the pandemic, so that our audience understands, that you're someone with a certain amount of credibility when it comes to this.
Sure. So I'm the chairman of Larkin Community Hospital. We're a series of 3 hospitals, 2 of which are teaching hospitals. So we have about 450 residents in training in 35 different specialties. So we're very involved in education and especially postgraduate education of physicians. And this is why we came, when COVID happened, obviously we wanted to do 2 things. One is, do a lot of testing. So we started with the first drive-throughs. And then, the next, thing was investigations, like figuring out, like what you just said, how deadly is it? What are potential treatments for it? What are potential mitigating factors for it? And that's how we came up with the whole concept of expanding contact tracing training. We don't, so that people can train to become a contact tracer.
Okay, so let's step back a second. Let's go back to sort of February, March, when COVID really becomes a household word. And I'm sure, like yourself and millions of others Americans, we watched as the president began doing these daily press briefings with Dr. Anthony Fauci, with Dr. Birx, talking about this COVID-19 that had come to America's shores. And I remember back then, Jack, very clearly, this sort of, horrific scenario that we were looking at possibly having more than 2 million deaths in America. And I don't know where that figure came from. I seem to recall it was, some sort of London institute or something that was supposedly the experts at projecting these kinds of things. And, as a result of that, the decision was made to shut down the U.S. economy. And the reason was, as I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, that we wanted to blunt the spread of the disease, primarily because we were afraid that it would spread so quickly and so fast that it would overwhelm our hospitals and our ability to treat people. Was that your impression of those first few weeks of the disease progression in the United States?
Yeah, and if you recall, there's a lot of talk about flattening the curve, and that was the concept was if we do these things, we're going to flatten the curve and we won't exceed hospital capacity. So that was clearly articulated.
Right. And so we did that. We shut down. I think it's fair to say that the curve was flattened. It took perhaps a little bit longer than we expected for that curve to flatten. People stayed home. Initially, I think the talk was of 2 weeks. It eventually became a month or even longer in some cases. But that curve was flattened. It also gave us time to really begin to understand the disease and how it progressed and how to treat it. I recall, and you may have seen it as well, a fantastic documentary on PBS on Frontline about what happened in northern Italy in the hospital there and how they were overwhelmed. That scared the hell out of me. I mean, you see that and you say, man, I mean, this is, you know, the whole town was basically locked down, and you had people there, including, I remember in that documentary, a 17-year-old young man who was in ICU for weeks. They didn't think he was going to survive. And they were overwhelmed. I mean, there was no, you know, people dying in the hallways of the hospital. So, but I think we got a handle on that pretty quickly. What did we learn during that period that it's been shut down, that everybody was quarantined, we started doing this research? What did we learn about COVID-19 that we didn't know before?
Well, I mean, we learned from the experience. We had kind of the hindsight of what was done in the places that handled it correctly. You know, if you look at what Hong Kong did, or Wuhan, or the first epicenters did, and basically we had the view of that, and then we had the view of potential treatments. It wasn't until recently, really, that we came up with this idea, which came from England, of the corticosteroids. Even though we were all using corticosteroids, because it was obviously counterintuitive that these people had a big inflammation.
Sure.
But there were a lot of people resistant to it, and finally that study came out of England. Then we talked about remdesivir. Now we're talking about convalescent plasma. So we've had developments that help us learn more about the virus in general. But I think the most thing that I think probably the piece that we may have failed in is kind of learning and the experience on the countries that controlled it. And that has to do with a lot of, the public getting engaged, understanding the seriousness, and practicing social distancing, and doing the right things that they need to do in order to prevent the pandemic from spreading.
Right. And that gets to the issue of the masks. So we've been told to wear masks. That's a legitimate point, correct?
Absolutely, absolutely. And I don't know why it became this thing where, I think, unfortunately it's an election year. So it's like everything is politicized. And I think we could have done better had we all worked together. This virus doesn't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat or an independent. Right. If it's going to kill you, it's going to kill you.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I think it would have made a lot more sense to kind of work together. That period of time we were locked down, we maybe spend some time educating people, training people on contact tracing, and just kind of developing what we needed, so that when we reopen the economy, which we're doing now, we're doing more contact tracing now. But there's conspiracy theories about that. If you look it up on the internet, people are saying that the government is trying to control you. You shouldn't answer the calls from contact tracers. And this is all because of this political argument. And right. I think, the more we settle on the medical aspects of this and away from politics, right. the better it is.
Right. So I've been saying for some time, and I got my mask in here someplace, one of my pockets here, to wear your mask, right? I mean, I take it with me everywhere. I believe in the science, okay? And I tell people, look, I mean, from my perspective, I'm not a scientist, I'm not a medical doctor, so I'm depending on the experts to tell me what to do and what not to do. And I tell people, look, nobody likes to wear a mask, but at the end of the day, it's sort of a minor aggravation if in fact it can make a difference in saving people's lives. So why not, right? And I think as a civilized society, we may not all agree, okay? But sometimes, you gotta sort of, go along to get along, so you may not like the idea of wearing a mask. You may think that it's all some sort of a hoax or conspiracy theory. But really, how difficult is it to put that mask on, when you're going out, you're going to be in an environment where there are a lot of people, perhaps vulnerable people. I think we've made way, way too much about, the whole mask thing, one way or another.
Yeah, I mean, and totally. And I think, people got a lot of mixed messages, and I still see it. I live on the bay, and I see people in boats with 10, 20 people on a boat, partying in a boat. Those types of things are not going to be helpful.
Right.
And I think that's kind of the part that, what they did in other countries, like if you look at the regimes that managed this, I mean, I call them regimes because many of them are regimes. They did it by like forcing people to do this. They put this app on their phone, they track them down, they arrested them if they left the area. We don't do that in this country. But what was done in the Western Hemisphere that worked is the best example of that is Guayaquil, Ecuador, right, which really is basically a democracy. And what they did there is they used the local barrio leaders, the people in the communities. Like, for example, we have this idea of going talking to the condo association owners. I mean, I don't know if you live in a condo, Raul, but no, these condo associations are like semi-governments inside of the building. It's like everybody knows who the president of the association is. They all know what's going on. They know if you left the light on or if you painted your balcony blue. And those are the people that we can really, because they're respected, they're elected by their own peers, condo owners. Those are, if we could recruit them and sure, teach them what causes some of these buildings to become hot zones. And if you talk to fire rescue, they'll tell you which condos are the ones that are causing most 911 calls.
Right.
And it's usually the same building.
Right.
And
listen,
it's because they're not doing the right
point.
things.
And I recall, actually, we had somebody we interviewed here, Lily Lopez, a couple weeks ago, great lady who runs the South Florida Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And she came in here wearing her mask, and during our interview, she emphasized the same thing. Listen, we got to figure out a way to get our restaurants and our ballrooms, back open again, our centers for mass meetings, but we got to do it smartly. Wear your mask, maintain your social distancing, that type of stuff. So I think there's people here in this community that have done that and understand that and convey that all the time. So we found out some things in the process of all of this that, how this virus operates. We've learned what you talked about, that, hydrocortisone, that certain treatments, in fact, are very useful in reducing those death rates. Talk to me about this thing that I've heard about, Tcells. When I hear this word Tcells, I have no idea what that means, but explain that to us and what that means in terms of resistance to the disease or fighting off the disease.
It's kind of the long-term immunity that you develop. So that's what the T cells do. And so, the theory behind this virus is basically that it causes your organism to go haywire. So the virus doesn't really kill you. It causes your body to produce these things called cytokines, and now they're calling it something else. But they're basically things that are secreted that by your own organism to attack the virus. But it does it disproportionately. And that's why you end up with heart damage, lung damage. That's the other thing we need to think about also is the long-term complications from COVID. We're just starting to see that now, but we're getting a lot of reports from Germany and from Spain and Italy and China, of course, that there's a lot of chronic conditions that are coming out of COVID. So that's why it's important to not get COVID.
So this is not just like your ordinary flu bug that you get rid of it, and then you sort of move on with your life. You're suggesting here that COVID may in fact cause long-term chronic problems for the person that had it and survived.
In some people, right? So basically, we know it kills about 1% of the people, right? So you say, well, that's not a lot of people. It's a lot of people when you have 330 million people. Right. And that's how that 1 million or 2 million number came out. We just happen to be a big country. So when you do the odds, even though the odds of dying from COVID, you're probably more likely to die in a car accident right now than from COVID. So wow. You be careful driving. But the reality of it is, we get more scared because we see it, right. And so we're more exposed to it. Right. But it's something that you can prevent. And obviously, still 1% is a big number when you're talking about a large population.
Right. Talk to me about the population that is most at risk.
So basically, this like with everything else, right? So if you're talking about any condition like heart disease, cancer, obviously people that are older are not going to do as well because their immune systems are more compromised. They're less prepared for this, and obviously they don't do as well. If you're obese, you don't do well from this. If you're a smoker, you don't do well from this. But that's what we know so far. We know it affects men more than women for some reason. We don't know exactly why. But those are the things that we know. So if you're diabetic, if you have heart disease, if you have a history of cancer, any chronic condition really increases your chances of getting sicker from it. That some people, I'm sure you've heard them say, I got the sniffles, and then I got tested and they said it was COVID, and I didn't even have a fever. Right. That can happen. Yeah. But that person needs to be careful because when you go visit grandma, it might not do that to grandma. Grandma might get a pneumonia, right. And grandma might die. And that's why young people need to be responsible. It's usually the young people hanging out, with their friends. And I get it, there's this term called pandemic fatigue, right? We're all tired of this. We're all tired of not being able to see our family. We're all tired of not being able to go out of the house without a mask. But you got to, like you said, you have your mask in your pocket. You do what you're supposed to do.
We got to go for a commercial break, but let's pick up on that as soon as we get back from commercial break so our sponsors can tell us who they are. We'll be right back, Jack. Thank you for sticking with us.
We are EnTV USA. Log on now and check out our live shows and subscribe. You don't want to miss this. Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, Línea Deportiva, a sports line. At 7 p.m., O Que Chisme, the best celebrity gossip show with Odi Abreu. At 8 p.m., Punto Final, another angle of news. 9 p.m. Mondays and Wednesdays, we have Alo Cortez with Tony Cortez. Tuesdays at 9 p.m., Dame Un Like. Thursdays, also at 9 p.m., De Noche con Roche. Fridays, 9 p.m., Mas con Mas with Raul Mascanosa. Every Wednesdays at 4 p.m., we've got Brisky Business with Dave Brisky. Followed by Inmigración en Fronteras with lawyer Irving Gonzalez at 5 p.m. This is our programming for EnTV USA from right here in Miami for the rest of the world. Con una vista, basta. Show some love and give us a like.
As you age, the collagen that helps keep your body in optimal physical condition breaks down faster than your body can replace it. But now it's easy to give your body the healthy dose of collagen it needs with Collagen Creamer from Youngevity. It's a delicious vanilla-flavored coffee creamer that's packed with 7.5 grams of bovine-sourced collagen peptides. Youngevity's Collagen Creamer uses 2 types of collagen to better supply the protein needed to repair and strengthen the connective tissue in your body. It also supports healthy hair, skin, nails, and even bones. We've also formulated Collagen Creamer with MCT, healthy fats that the body is able to absorb and convert into an instant boost of energy. Add it to coffee or one of your other favorite beverages when you need it. Youngevity Collagen Creamer. Support for healthy connective tissue and more energy, all in a tasty vanilla-flavored creamer. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Cardio Beats from Youngevity supports a healthy cardiovascular system and helps supply the nutrients your body needs to support better physical endurance. Your capacity to last a little longer is largely based on how well your cardiovascular system expends oxygen and circulates blood through your body. Cardio Beats helps combat the oxidative stress caused by physical activity by supplying you with key nutrients that support your cardiovascular system. These nutrients have also been shown to help improve endurance. Cardio Beats starts with organic beets, a rich source of nitrates to support healthy blood flow and oxygen transport. We've added whole foods from highly bioavailable seaweed and mango fruit, both known for blood flow support, and antioxidant-rich sweet cherries. Then, for even more heart health benefits, we finished it off with key amino acids. Take your physical endurance to the next level with Cardio Beats. Talk to your Youngevity associate for more information.
Understanding your microbiome can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. Natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Youngevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Paying attention to your overall health also means focusing on the command center of it all, your brain. Factors like stress, lack of sleep, poor diet, a sedentary lifestyle, and the bombardment of pollutants and toxins can all diminish brain and neural functions. When was the last time you concentrated on your brain health? Synaptive by Youngevity is a cutting-edge, unique brain support supplement that delivers powerful nutrients both immediately and throughout the day. Its anti-stress nutrients provide instant brain-boosting support that helps with mental focus and cognitive activity. To enhance your body's neuroprotection, Synaptive's full-spectrum antioxidant blend targets 6 major classes of free radicals that inhibit brain function. This powerful nutrient combination also promotes healthy blood flow to the brain. Synaptive, optimal antioxidant neuroprotection and support for a healthy brain. Now that's something to think about. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Stop the COVID-19. Maintain social distancing. The best way to prevent the sickness is to avoid exposure and to avoid exposing other people. Maintain a distance of 6 feet whenever possible and cover your nose and mouth with a handkerchief or mask when in public. Avoid hugs, handshakes, and big reunions as well as events indoors. For more information, please go to floridahealthcovid19.gov. This is a message from EnTV USA for the community.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us. We've got a terrific guest on our program today, Dr. Jack Michel, who is the chairman of the board of Larkin Community Hospital here in Miami. And right before the break, Dr. Michel was talking to us about the importance of young people paying attention to social distancing and wearing their masks. I realize, listen, I remember being young once a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You think you're invisible, but it's not because of the harm to them. It's the harm that they can cause to others that are vulnerable. And Jack, you were talking to us about that, how they can then pass the disease on to an elderly person that then becomes vulnerable and possibly dies as a result of COVID-19.
That's exactly right, and that's the issue really with young the kids may not get very sick from it, although we know that some do, and Miami Children's has several people on ventilators, kids on ventilators. But we do know that they are basically carriers of the disease and that they can give it to older adults. So that's the danger of having the kids hang out together.
Mm-hmm. So what about the schools? Let's talk about the schools here, because we heard that we've been hearing that we need to keep the schools shut down. Other people say no, we need to open the schools. We got a lot of parents that are out there who can't keep their kids at home indefinitely. They need to go back to a regular life. Is it okay for school children or high school kids to go back to school?
It's a tough question, because what you're saying is absolutely right. I mean, what does a person do when most people here, both the husband and the wife, have a job, and what do you do? Who do you live your son with? And how do you make sure that they actually do the work that they're supposed to do? Right. We really weren't prepared for this accelerated digital aid, I'll call it. Like right now, we're doing this via Zoom, but really we're not really adapted to it. So I think it depends on the kind of the discipline of the people involved. I mean, I think if you have a monitoring system where you're able to detect early on where people, and you test and you frequently test, because basically it's the asymptomatics that carry it, that are more likely to usually 2 days before you get the symptoms, you can give the disease to someone else. So I think if we could increase testing at the schools, and we could make sure that we monitor people for symptoms right away, and basically make sure that they don't keep coming back. And it's not just the temperature. I think people need to be honest. If you have a sore throat or you have a cough, just taking your temperature is not going to do anything. So I think if people are responsible, and also I think if kids go to school, I think they should try to stay away from their grandparents during that time, at least until we know that this is continuing to go down below the percentage that it needs to, like below 5% sustained.
Let me ask you about that, because you mentioned that it's not just the little thermometer testing, the infrared thermometer of the temperature, but how do you get a kid in 3rd grade to be honest or diligent, when asking him every morning, do you have a scratchy throat or have you been coughing? I mean, at that age, can kids really assimilate that?
That's the challenge. How do you get them to social distance? All the time. It's very hard, and that's one of the concerns. That obviously, if you're having positivity rates of less than 5%, and you have the situation controlled, that's when you look for outbreaks. That's when it's you need to watch out, because you all of a sudden now you kind of develop this petri dish in the school where you have kids coming from different households who one of them may have the virus, and then they could all get the virus. Now the schools are coming up with these theories where if they come 2 days a week, or alternating days, or obviously the separation in the classroom and things like that. But for little kids, it's tough. If you look where the big breakouts have been in daycares, and that's the reason. It's very hard to keep those kids away from each other.
Right. So talk to me about the tracing, the COVID tracing, the contact tracing. How important is that? You've been very involved with it here in South Florida. Tell us how that's gone. Is it working? Is it not working? What kind of report card can we give ourselves on that?
So, there was a recent report on that on the Atlantic, and it talked about why contact tracing wasn't working in the United States. And it gave, basically the reasons it gave was, number one is we have thousands of cases a day, right? to contact trace somebody, it takes about at least 20 minutes, because you have to go through this person's contact information and go back and try to reconstruct 2 days before symptoms, and then up until that time, and see who they've been in contact with. Then you got to contact those people and put them on quarantine. So it's a process. So you look at that issue. There's the second issue. It takes 7 to 10 days to get results back. So let's say you feel bad, you go get a test, right? Now you feel bad today. Maybe you've been feeling a little bit bad for the last couple of days, but you weren't really sure. Now you go get tested. So probably by the time you get the results back, there's no point on contact tracing you, because that virus has already moved on to the next people.
Wow.
And the third issue that with contact tracing is this thing, what I'm telling you, that people feel that somehow the government is installing a chip on them, and a lot of people hang up the phone. And we saw it in New York, we still see it in Miami. When you call people, they just don't want to talk to you. So we came up with this app now, that it's like a free app that you can figure out by symptoms only. If you're asymptomatic, it doesn't do anything. But if you're symptomatic, you're able to say your symptoms, and there's an algorithm that they use in Guayaquil that correlates certain symptoms with a probability.
Talk to us about that app. Where do people find this app? I mean, is it free? Can anybody download
it's free.
it?
It's called COVIDriskeval.com.
Say that again.
So COVIDriskeval.com.
COVIDriskeval.
Eval.com. Evaluation.
Right. COVIDriskeval.com.
And it's available in Spanish. It's called hispanovida.com.
Right.
Because actually we copied the same algorithm that they used in Ecuador called Ecuavida.
Right.
So we just kind of changed it to Hispanovida because we wanted to make it free. In Ecuador, what they did is that they connected these people with doctors. And so there was a huge cost of it. What we're doing is we're connecting them with contact tracing. So you basically go on the app, you put in your symptoms, you put in your medical history. It tells you low risk. Okay, low risk, follow the CDC protocol. Social distancing, wear a mask. You're medium or high risk, then you're immediately connected to a contact tracer. What does that do? You haven't even had a test yet. This is exactly when we want to catch it. So we're going to treat you like you have COVID. Now, question for you. Do these people really need to get tested?
I don't know. I mean, I would imagine if they're showing some of the symptoms, it wouldn't hurt, right? I mean,
it wouldn't hurt. But what if you treat them as a positive and you do the isolation and you treat them as a positive? What's the harm that you've done by doing that? If they come back negative for some reason, let's say that the algorithm didn't work for this one particular person. So, in my view, this is almost as good as a test, right? Because number one, you're able to get the results quickly. You're able to intervene quickly. And the worst that could happen is you contact trace somebody that had a cold. Right. You had the common cold or you had the flu. Well, you know what? It's not good to spread the common cold or the flu either. So maybe we should, actually, I think this flu season, because of the masks and because of social distancing, we're probably going to have a less flu situation, particularly because of that, because we're practicing these measures. But so that's the idea. And, in Ecuador, they did 30,000 people with it. I worked out really well for them. They were able to go from 800 deaths a day. They're having 800 people dead every day. They were overwhelmed the cemeteries, to basically no deaths for like a 45-day period. And I think now they're having 4 or 5 infections a week.
And by the way, for people that don't know, I mean, Guayaquil is really a decent-sized city. I mean, this is not a small town. This is the commercial heart of Ecuador, pretty close to the equator, very hot and muggy, very similar sort of, I guess, weather pattern that we have here in terms of heat and humidity. So if they were having 800 deaths a day and they got it down to how many?
They went for a 45-day period of no deaths.
Wow. And
actually, we have an affiliation now with all the medical schools in Guayaquil. We're training their people to be contact tracers because they spent like $200,000 on this app. They were generous enough to let us have the algorithm. So now we're using it, and now it's free all over the world. So we're actually we're going to translate it into native languages, because the underserved populations in those areas are the Quichuas and the Guaranis in Paraguay, who basically have no connection to the central government because everything is in Spanish. So we're working with them to reach out to those populations. But the different thing we're doing here is that we're going to hopefully offer the PCR test so that we can correlate, because we're finding out that maybe that algorithm could be improved. There was a study that came out of UC California that said if you start with upper gastrointestinal symptoms like nausea and vomiting, and that's followed by diarrhea, that's more likely to be COVID. It's kind of like the lack of smell and the taste that you hear about, very likely to be COVID. So that's one of the things that we want to perfect on this algorithm to see, okay, how much of a correlation, which symptoms have more of a correlation than others. It doesn't do anything if you're asymptomatic. And we disclose that. We say, look, if you're asymptomatic, you could still be spreading it. But we are able to deal with the people with symptoms, and we're able to address it early enough so that by the time the test result is back,
just out of curiosity, do we know of people that get COVID-19, what percentage of the people that acquire the disease are asymptomatic? I mean, is it 10, 20%? Is it 50% of the people that are asymptomatic? I mean, how many people get symptoms?
I've heard anything from 20 to 40%.
Are asymptomatic.
Asymptomatic.
Wow.
I've heard, I've seen those people. It's obviously the only way to find out is to test people that don't have any symptoms. And even now, we're not really testing a lot of people without symptoms. But initially, when we have our drive-through, the reason we found out is because we were telling people, in order to get tested, you have to have symptoms, right? And then when they were positive, we would call them, right? And when we call them, we say, hey, so what were your symptoms? And they said, no, I didn't have any symptoms. So what do you mean? You lied to get tested? Yeah, but because I was worried because I had lunch with somebody that had COVID. But they tested positive and they had absolutely no symptoms.
So I promised I wouldn't get political, but I'm sort of going to venture into it just a little bit, just to sort of touch, feel the waters here, because the Democratic presidential candidate has basically come out saying, as part of his campaign, number one, a national mask mandate. Number two, we need to test pretty much everybody. Where do you fall on that view?
Well, I mean, we definitely need to. I mean, like you said, the political things get always exaggerated, right? So you definitely need more testing. Because clearly we need more testing, just based on the data that we've seen from other countries. We're not testing enough right now. We need to test more. Now, are we not testing enough? I don't know the answer. I don't think a lot of people know the answer. Are we not testing enough because there's no availability of testing? Because you see that the drive-thrus are not busy now. Or is it because people have fatigue and they don't want to get tested anymore? I don't know the answer to that. And how do you force them to get tested? That's a question, I think, for anybody. So
no, listen. I think it's a very good point, Jack. Because I mean, what you referred to as pandemic fatigue, I think is very, very real. We have people here that have been locked down for months now, and I've said it myself. I mean, it's getting to the point where the cure, i.e., the lockdown, is almost worse than the disease itself, because people are just they're going bonkers, staying at home, and the kids and whatnot, and what ends up happening is people are now sort of like pushing back and saying, look, I don't want to be locked up indefinitely, and they're beginning to sort of have these doubts about whether it's even worthwhile, which is one of the reasons I wanted to interview you, right? To sort of cut through that a bit and figure out what's really going on out there.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things we've done is, so we translated the contact tracing course. It was originally in English done by the Association of State and Territorial Officials, and it was a great course, but it was in English. And so we called them. We said, "Are you planning to translate this to Spanish?" And they said, "No, we don't have any immediate plans to do it." So we said, "How about we do it for free, and you let us put it on our platform?" And they did. And so that's available now. It's rastreadorescovid.com. And then we have it in Haitian Creole. It's called napv.com. We live, napviv.com. Because we think, at the end of the day, it's the communities that live here. You cannot control this in one area and not in another. Because what's going to happen is, if we don't have a policy where we treat every city and every group, we can't get away with just saying, okay, well, we're not going to do anything with the Haitians or with the Hispanics. Because at the end of the day, we all live together and we all interact together, and we're going to see each other at the grocery shopping, or some people might come do some services in your house, or you might run into them in school. Your kids might run into people in school that may not be, may have symptoms. So we need to this is one where these inequities that we have in healthcare, it kind of lit us, put a light on it, and not only in the United States. Like I was telling you, in these groups, in all these other countries, these indigenous groups, everything is in Spanish. Nothing is in the native language. So it's something that we all need to learn.
Terrific.
We're in this together, like they say.
We're sort of running out of time here, but before we have to say goodbye, talk to us about the vaccine. What's going on? When do you see a vaccine coming online? How quickly before year end, you think?
Well, we're hearing that, and we're optimistic. We're praying that that's the case, but I'm afraid that when you send that message, people tend to think, well, it's okay, maybe vaccine's coming, it's done. I would think my recommendation is we're going to live with this virus for at least 12 months, because even if the vaccine comes in at the end of the year, like you've suggested, which would be amazing, it would be. Forget warp speed. This is like multiple times warp speed if it comes back by the end of the year. And that would be amazing. It would be a major accomplishment. We don't know, first of all, how long the immunity is going to last. We don't know. You're talking about 330 million people. How are we going to vaccinate them all? We're going to have to start with the vulnerable people first. So by the time the vaccine gets to you, it could be a while. And for all we know, from the people that have gotten infected, it looks like the immunity lasts a couple of months. So we don't know if that means permanent immunity or not yet. So those are the issues we have with the vaccine right now.
Terrific. Thank you so much, Jack. I appreciate you taking time to be with us on this program. I think we've learned a lot. Appreciate your frank discussion of this subject and kind of keeping us out and keeping me out of the political realm. Hopefully some folks will benefit from this. And one last thing, if they want to find out more, is there a website or something at Larkin Community Hospital?
Yeah, we have volunteer.larkinhospital.com.
Say that again?
If you go there, volunteer.larkinhospital.com.
Okay.
And you can go there and you have access to all the courses. Everything is free. The contact tracing course is free. The bridge-based app is free. I think everybody should take the contact tracing course, because at least you learn everything there is to know about COVID and how to protect your family.
Excellent. So if you have some free time, you're sitting at home, you're bored this Labor Day weekend, you have nothing better to do, go to that website, get yourself educated, and help us fight off this disease. Thank you, Jack, for being with us here on Más con Más. We're going to break for a quick commercial, and then we're going to come back to review some of the news events of the week. Thanks for sticking with us. We are EnTV USA. You can find us on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Roku. You can also download our mobile applications either from Google Play or from the Apple Store, depending on your online device. Give us a shot. You'll like what you see. Con una vista, basta.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Youngevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Youngevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Antioxidants are essential to protect your cells against the damaging effects of free radicals. Turmeric by Youngevity harnesses the power of nature to combat free radicals by delivering a potent boost of antioxidants known for their incredible healing properties. Sourced from certified organic turmeric root, turmeric contains 95% curcuminoids, the active compounds that quash free radicals. Turmeric has been used in Ayurvedic and Chinese medicine for thousands of years to promote both heart and brain health, as well as its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. We've also included a botanical blend of phytonutrients that include flavonoids, carotenoids, and sulfides. These natural, plant-based chemicals are powerful contributors to overall health and well-being. Turmeric, the organic antioxidant supplement from Youngevity. formulated to promote optimal health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Understanding your microbiome can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Ultimate Microbiome by Youngevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
A strong heart is a happy heart. Your body's systems depend on a healthy cardiovascular system to thrive. Without a healthy heart, you could experience symptoms like fatigue, aches and pains, dizziness, or shortness of breath. Youngevity developed Ultimate EFA Plus with a proprietary balanced blend of essential fatty acids. We started with flaxseed oil. It's been shown to improve the elasticity of arteries and support healthy blood pressure. Next, we included cold water fish oils, rich in omega-3s that can promote a healthy cardiovascular system and even increase levels of good HDL cholesterol. Then we added borage oil, known for its powerful anti-inflammatory properties. Blended together, these essential fatty acids provide you with the optimal blend of nutrients to help maintain normal cardiovascular health. Ultimate EFA Plus, the right nutrients to improve your heart health naturally. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Just because you're a certain age doesn't mean you have to look it or feel it. Immortalium by Youngevity was developed to support your body's ability to age normally and healthfully. It's an advanced anti-aging supplement that combines the most effective essential nutrients in a cutting-edge, bi-layered and extended release tablet designed to support your telomere health and natural aging process. Telomeres are the biological clocks within your cells that form the protective ends of almost every chromosome in your body. Telomeres help prevent the chromosomes from deteriorating. The longer and healthier the telomeres in a cell, the greater the health and anti-aging benefits. Immortalium contains synergizing antioxidant enzymes and telomere health-promoting nutrients that are quickly absorbed to give your body time to break down the antioxidants and put them to work. Immortalium, advanced anti-aging support that can help fight the natural aging process. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate. Paying attention to your overall health also means focusing on the command center of it all, your brain. Factors like stress, lack of sleep, poor diet, a sedentary lifestyle, and the bombardment of pollutants and toxins can all diminish brain and neural functions. When was the last time you concentrated on your brain health? Synaptive by Youngevity is a cutting-edge, unique brain support supplement that delivers powerful nutrients both immediately and throughout the day. Its anti-stress nutrients provide instant brain-boosting support that helps with mental focus and cognitive activity. To enhance your body's neuroprotection, Synaptive's full-spectrum antioxidant blend targets 6 major classes of free radicals that inhibit brain function. This powerful nutrient combination also promotes healthy blood flow to the brain. Synaptive, optimal antioxidant neuroprotection and support for a healthy brain. Now that's something to think about. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
As you age, factors like health, weight, diet, and lifestyle can all impact your bones, joints, and general mobility. Over time, you might start to experience stiffness or pain due to damaged joints or connective tissue. Ultimate Glucogel by Youngevity was created to help you limit the effects of wear on your joints. It delivers a daily dose of collagen-rich gelatin your body needs for joint elasticity and maintenance. Ultimate Glucogel contains a 1-to-1 ratio of gelatin and glucosamine sulfate, which is a key building block of your bone matrix, cartilage, ligaments, tendons, and connective tissue. Gelatin's unique blend of amino acids not only help with muscle and joint health, but also has been shown to provide additional benefits for the brain, skin, and hair. Ultimate Glucogel. natural, optimal daily support for joint health. To learn more, contact your Youngevity associate.
Welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us. I want to review the events of this past week, and I want to begin by the news that I heard early this morning that the suspect in Portland, Oregon, the individual that killed the pro-Trump caravan member, the suspect was a gentleman named Michael Forrest Reinhold. Michael Forrest Reinhold, 48 years old. And apparently this individual had the audacity to go on Vice News, that media network, and pretty much admit to the fact that he shot and killed this pro-Trump supporter. Made no bones about it. So what happened late last night? Apparently the police showed up at this man's doorstep, accompanied by federal agents as well. The guy decided he was not going to go peacefully, drew a weapon, got into a gunfight with police, and the police shot him dead. My worry now is that these Antifa and BLM revolutionaries might in fact make a martyr out of this gentleman, 48-year-old Michael Forrest Reinhold. Keep that name in mind. He may become the next martyr for Black Lives Matter and Antifa. They might have some fantastical, a funeral set up for him, where we find out that he was, God's gift to mankind, and that, the shooting was completely unjustified and all that malarkey that they keep espousing and expecting us to believe. So the gentleman that basically shot the pro-Trump supporter admitted it, got into a gunfight for police, they killed him dead, and now they might very well make a martyr of him. Listen, this is serious stuff because, obviously we're at a point in time in our country where we are extremely divided. And one of the things that I keep reminding people is, even with all this violence that's going on, things can get a lot worse. And one of the things that I've been commenting on, because obviously I'm a very pro-Second Amendment individual, I believe in the right of people to keep and bear arms, and I think I know a little bit about the subject. I follow it very carefully. And last December of 2019, an organization called the National Shooting Sports Foundation, which is kind of one of the big industry groups that's out there representing the manufacturers of firearms, they did a study using data from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. So this is government-sourced data, trying to get a handle on exactly how many firearms are in civilian hands into the U.S. The figures that I had seen prior to this were somewhere in the neighborhood of around 300 million firearms in civil hands in the United States. This latest figure that came out of the National Shooting Sports Foundation found a number of approximately 423 million legal firearms in civilian hands in the United States. And I can tell you for a fact that since March, there has been a gun buying frenzy in the United States unlike anything I've ever seen. So that 423 million figure is probably at least 3, 4, 5 million more just in what's happened in these last few months alone. And a lot of those people are first-time gun owners, a lot of women buying guns for the very first time. People are scared. People are very scared, and people are very well armed in America. And if this thing keeps getting worse, these folks have the means with which to defend themselves and defend their properties. They have a lot of means with which to do so. And I hope we don't go there. I'm not in favor of vigilantes. I'm not in favor of civil war. But if this nonsense continues, I have a feeling you're going to see a lot more people taking matters into their own hands and taking justice into their own hands. That would be an incredible shame. I'm not promoting it. I don't want it. It's just a cautionary sign that I'm putting out there. And, be on the lookout for it, because if we don't get a lid on this out-of-control violence, using the National Guard, using the resources we have available to us, things could get pretty nasty pretty quickly. We're in full campaign season. We're going into Labor Day. Things are going to be hot and heavy going forward. Watch those polls. The polls are definitely tightening. Be very suspect of those polls from the mainstream media. Anything related to the Washington Post or the New York Times, take it with a grain of salt, a big grain of salt. Okay. Make sure that those polls are focusing on likely voters, not on registered voters. You're really getting close to the election now. You want to see the people that are being polled that are indeed likely voters, that have voted historically in the past and will vote again. Also, keep in mind that Hillary won the popular election by about 3 million votes. So the national voting in terms of polling really isn't as important as the battleground states. Focus on the battleground states, those electoral college states that are very influential, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, Texas, Florida. I mean, those are the big states with huge electoral votes, and those are the ones that are going to make a difference in this election. Arizona is another big one. Pennsylvania, those are the states we need to really focus on. And keep in mind also the undercover Trump effect. What do I mean by the undercover Trump effect? I mean, we all, saw in 2016, Hillary supposedly was going to be a slam dunk. According to the New York Times, there was an 80% probability, if not more, that she was going to win that election. And yet you had this tsunami of Trump voters that came out seemingly out of nowhere and won the election. The pollsters tell us that they have now adjusted for that. They've gotten much better at identifying and polling those quote-unquote undercover Trump voters. I'm not too sure about that. As I was coming into the studio, I saw a news headline that the president was yesterday in Pennsylvania, flew in on Air Force One, and apparently the car caravan wanting to get to the airport where he was giving the speech stretched for another 10 miles outside of the airways, outside of the runway, I should say. So that should tell you something. There is enormous popular support for the president out there. It may or may not be reflecting in the polls. And the other thing that I'm very closely watching is the fact that the firewall, the African-American firewall, definitely has cracks. One last thing, Nancy Pelosi, Salongate, the hypocrisy of the Speaker of the House, who has been telling us for months and months not to leave our homes without a mask and not to, go to businesses, keep your businesses shuttered, keep everything shut down, wear a mask, et cetera, et cetera. The woman who is holding hostage, the stimulus checks that, many people are still in dire need of, that is keeping a lid on federal unemployment assistance. This woman showed up at her, beauty salon in San Francisco, no mask, got her hair washed, got it blown out, and now she's suffering enormous blowback is what she's suffering. Incredible hypocrisy, and that's one of the reasons why Americans are so fed up with politics as usual in America. Thank you for being with us here on Mosque and Mosque. Appreciate your staying with us, watching this program, listening to my views. Hope you enjoyed our interview with Dr. Jack Michel, and got another great guest for you next week. Be here with us on Mosque and Mosque, Fridays, 9 p.m. EnTV USA, with the sponsors Youngevity, Grimal Joyeria, and Cachita Coffee. Thank you so much for your support. Take care. Bye-bye.